Alright guys, today I'll be reviewing Darien Lake's Fright Fest. Now this will not be including any rides, as that would just count for a separate review for Darien Lake. This is only going to count the houses and the overall haunt experience. So right off the bat, I gotta state that this is a lower tier Six Flags park, and that means it's just not going to be that good. Do not expect anything world class out of this place. I wasn't expecting that, but even still, I was a little disappointed, so I'll get into that in this review. So let's start off with The Awakening, and this was pathetic. This is by far the worst year for The Awakening. I honestly liked the batting cage Awakening, but I do understand a lot of the kids were being really annoying, so they had to switch it up, and what we got was terrible. We've got these two actors who go up and give this whole spiel, and then these little kids get up and have this weird makeup on and do a dance, and then the actors enter the main area where the awakening's going on, but they're surrounding you and you could still see where they're at, so it's not a surprise or a grand reveal. It was just terrible. So let's get into the actual houses. And there were only two mazes this year. One was a house, one was a trail. Usually there's either 2 or 3 actual houses plus Jack Pellet, Scarecrow Row. But this year all we've got is Bloodstone Hollow. So I'll get into that right now. I'm going to say this is a spoiler review. I'm going to go pretty in-depth on a lot of these scares and all the effects. So definitely skip ahead of this if you don't want to hear all that. So you start off by entering a pretty lengthy queue. It was only into the indoor portion, but it was still a 20-minute wait. And then you got into the elevator, and oh my god, the elevator this year was so aggressive. I don't know what happened, maybe it was just my memory, but I don't remember the elevator being that aggressive. It was legit hard to stand up. I'm going to talk about the actors before we actually get into the haunt. And the actors, they're fine. They're about what I expected for a Six Flags Darien Lake haunt. The actor in the elevator was actually one of the better ones. She was sort of engaged, and then a lot of the other actors throughout the house just kind of tried but didn't really succeed. I could tell there was an effort by some of them, but obviously these aren't the top of the line actors. These aren't even Fright World or Dark Matter for that matter. The maze itself was actually longer than I expected. It was about 8 minutes, which is about a minute longer than I was expecting, which was a nice surprise. Getting into the scares and intensity, I will say this house is not something that you should go in expecting to get scared in. If you have a little kid or something, or you're just not that used to haunts, this is a great starter haunt for you. Both the houses really, because yeah, I didn't really get scared at all in here, which is a shame. I mean, who knows what it would be like at Great Adventure or Magic Mountain, but I get it's Darien Lake. It's not supposed to be that good. You got makeup, you got set, all that sort of extra stuff that goes into the houses, and all that was, again, about what I expected from Darien Lake. In terms of the story of Bloodstone Hollow, I'm not sure what the hell this thing is supposed to be. And it used to be Creatures of Chaos and Jungle Apocalypse, and they kind of just, mashed them up together. There's no sort of correlation, it's just a ton of different random rooms. They do not make it clear in the queue what this is supposed to be. They do have TVs playing a little backstory, but you can't hear them. So overall, I'll be generous and give this a 3, because I do recognize it's not supposed to be intense. And the elevator was actually very impressive to me, so that's why I'm giving it a 3. However, what is not gonna get such a high score, and I say high because it's higher than I thought it could be, is Jack Pellet's. This might be the most pathetic walkthrough I have ever seen. This one was a much shorter line, I thought. It was only about 2 minutes to actually get in here. It was a pretty quiet night, but still, I thought this would definitely have at least a 20-minute wait, and I guess people were smart for avoiding this haunt, because, yeah, it is not worth it. So I should mention the duration of this haunt is pretty short. It's about 5 minutes if you're walking at an average rate. The actors in here, oh my lord. I'm so sorry to say this if you're watching this and you're from Jack Palance, but do better. Like, there was one actor in particular that there was like this team KO in front of me, right? They're just completely terrified. Literally, I could have said boo, and they would have jumped. And the actor got him, and he just started laughing, just completely broke out of character. When I saw him, he was still laughing and just standing off to the side. It was not good. And the actors in this house, they just make bad attempts at scares. There was one in the bushes in particular that just kind of went, whoa, and jumped out of the bush, but not really, like only went like a foot out of it. And I look over and didn't even try to follow me or anything. I will say they still have the chainsaw actor, and he is good for the people that get scared by chainsaws. But something I realized after I've done more and more haunts is the chainsaw acts are good for people that aren't used to a lot of haunts. But for someone like me who's used to haunts, it doesn't really do anything, because I know they're not gonna swing it at you and hit you with the chainsaw, even though the blade's off. So yeah, the actors, I'm sorry. I know that you're not getting trained with the top of the line training or anything, but I mean, there's a lot you could do better. Obviously, given what I'm saying about the actors, this is not a scary walkthrough. Anybody can walk through this and be pretty much fine up until the chainsaw. I know for inexperienced haunt goers that chainsaw can get you, but at this point I just know, okay, I smell the chainsaw's coming. Another thing I'll mention about this and Bloodstone is that there was a lot of empty space in these haunts. There definitely were a lot of rooms and sets with no actors in them, and you'd have to walk a bit before you see an actor. In terms of sets and makeup and scenes, it was pretty much non-existent. The makeup and costumes were nothing special. And here, honestly, the best makeup and costumes probably came from just the walk-around actors inside the park. And the scenes and sets, they were just pretty much non-existent. There was one cool crocodile animatronic, but that was about it. The best thing to look at was honestly Viper, because you don't really get that view of Viper ever unless you go in there. I think they're going for a sort of farm scarecrow haunted trail type theme here, but once again, there's absolutely no correlation. So overall, Jack Palance Scarecrow Row, I think it's obvious what I'm going to give it. It's going to be a 1 out of 10, guys. I'm sorry. A couple other things I wanted to mention about the mazes were the prices were pretty steep. There was a weird deal where it was $20 for Bloodstone and then $12 for Jack Palance, so I think even Darien Lake knows Jack Palance isn't good. And then combine the two and you get a $2 savings. So $30 for these two mazes, I mean, that's more than you pay to get into Dark Matter. And I'm not saying Dark Matter's an elite haunt by any means, but it's certainly better than this place for sure. The one thing I will give them credit with is they did prevent daisy chaining pretty well. They spaced it out well, so I'll give them credit for that. Unfortunately, I had some speed walkers behind me on Jack Palance, which caught up to me. I just let them go ahead because, yeah, they were the team KO that I was talking about earlier, who just wanted to get out of there as fast as possible, which, I mean, you paid $12 to go in there, so I'd want to take my time, but, I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want in there. The last thing I have to mention is the overall atmosphere of Fright Fest this year is better than it's been in the past. There's a lot more sets, a lot more fog, the same amount of actors in the middle, but I feel like the best actors are honestly just roaming around the park. So overall, I'd give the atmosphere a 4 out of 10. Again, it's nothing to stand out, but it is a bit better than the actual houses themselves. So overall, Fright Fest this year is just not good. If you're going into the houses especially, do not expect to get your money's worth. This is not an actually good haunt unless you're a little kid who just wants to start out. Overall, I'm going to give Fright Fest a 2 out of 10 this year. The Awakening was horrible this year. You've got Jack Pallets, which is pathetic. Bloodstone is okay. And then the atmosphere around the park is pretty good compared to what it's usually been, but it's still nothing to shout at. So let me know what you guys think of Fright Fest this year. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.